suffers from such a rare disorder of being unable to just be a human.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Make it end. Make it end. What? I'm searching for something to like about her, and it's so hard. Who are you trying to be able to just be a human? I've never seen this sort of. I've never seen someone that struggles to just give us like one strip of authentic.
Candace Owens didn't gasp when Meghan Markle accused the royals of racism, and she didn't flinch when Meghan claimed she had been silenced by the palace. But when someone whispered, "What about the daughter she left behind?" Candace froze, and then said what no one else dared to: "Walking away from your own child is different." That contradiction cracked open Meghan's carefully built image, because this wasn't about tiaras, tabloids, or Netflix interviews. This was about a rumor that long before she became a duchess, Meghan had lived another life, as a teenage bride, and possibly even a mother. If true, it wouldn't just be inconvenient gossip. It would be the missing chapter of her biography, one she spent nearly 30 years erasing. The whispers lead not to Buckingham Palace, but to a small faded chapel in Las Vegas in 1994. While her classmates from Immaculate Heart High School were celebrating senior trips and planning dorm rooms, Meghan, insiders claim, was planning something very different. From Europe trips or carefree beach days, Meghan instead boarded a plane to Nevada. No flashing lights, no red carpet, just two family witnesses, a friend from Chicago, and a vow spoken in secrecy. The groom was Joe Giuliano, a quiet young man from a traditional Italian-American family. Unlike Meghan, Joe wasn't chasing Hollywood dreams. He valued privacy, stability, and family honor. To him, marriage and children were sacred, meant to come early and stay behind closed doors. But those values clashed with Meghan's ambitions. Even then, she was talking about Northwestern University, about the stage, about bigger dreams that stretched far beyond Chicago traditions. And yet, in that small Vegas chapel, they stood side by side, sealing a bond that would vanish almost as quickly as it appeared. Because months later, something happened that turned their teenage union into more than just a youthful mistake. Sources tied to the Giuliano family insist Meghan was pregnant. By mid-1995, a baby girl was allegedly born in Chicago, not under Hollywood's glare, but under the Giuliano family's roof. And that's where the silence begins. Reports suggest Meghan made a choice. She would not raise the child herself. Instead, Joe's family quietly took responsibility, while Meghan walked forward as if that chapter had never existed. No official adoption, no custody paperwork, just silence. And that silence deepened when Meghan filed for an annulment, a record so tightly sealed in Clark County that officials still refuse to confirm or deny its existence. Publicly, Meghan's story framed that missing year as a gap year, a period she claimed was spent traveling and finding herself before entering Northwestern. But when investigators searched for proof of those trips, they uncovered nothing. No exchange paperwork, no visa stamps, not a single verified photo. Only a void. And that void aligns perfectly with whispers of a hidden child in Chicago. The Giuliano family never spoke publicly, never ran to tabloids, never tried to cash in when Meghan's fame skyrocketed. Their silence made the rumors harder to dismiss. Neighbors in Chicago recalled seeing a little girl at Giuliano family gatherings, a child who wasn't introduced as a niece, a cousin, or even a family friend. A silence like that was unusual because most families proudly share milestones, school photos, wedding announcements, baby celebrations. But in this case, insiders suggest, silence wasn't just tradition, it was protection. Insiders claim there were no milestones for this child, no school announcements, no baby photos, no family updates. She was folded into the Giuliano household like a shadow. No paper trail, no public acknowledgement, no link to Meghan Markle. Imagine a young girl laughing in the yard, sitting at the dinner table, blowing out birthday candles, yet always kept just out of sight, carefully hidden from the world. For Meghan, this wasn't just a family arrangement, it was an eraser, a way to step into her next chapter without dragging the past behind her. But Candace Owens' reaction pulled that erased chapter back into the spotlight. On her show, she didn't just question not the Strip with its glamorous shows and flashing neon, but a small chapel tucked quietly out of sight. Witnesses say there were no photographers, no bridesmaids, no flowers, just Meghan, Joe Giuliano, and a hushed ceremony that lasted only minutes. A teenage union sealed with vows that were almost immediately buried. Months later, Meghan filed for an annulment. But unlike most annulments, which remain on record, This one was sealed tight. To this day, Clark County officials refuse to confirm its existence. And that silence has only fueled speculation. If the marriage was merely a teenage misstep, why erase it so completely? Her public biography covers the gap with a single line. She graduated in 1994, took a gap year, and enrolled at Northwestern University in the fall of 1995. Meghan herself has repeated the story, saying she traveled, discovered herself, and explored the world before starting college. But when researchers dug into those claims, the evidence was missing. No student exchange records, no visa stamps, no photos from overseas trips. Instead, that year appears blank, a void where a major life event should be. And it is precisely that void that aligns with the whispers of what came next. Reports suggest Meghan became pregnant in late 1994, giving birth to a daughter in mid-1995 under the Giuliano family's care in Chicago. According to a relative, the arrangement was simple but absolute. Joe and his family would raise the child as their own, and Meghan would walk away. No paperwork, no custody battle, no trail linking the child to her name. Over the years, fragments of the story slipped through. One neighbor recalled seeing a young girl at Giuliano family gatherings, though she was never formally introduced. Another relative allegedly referred to her in passing as Meghan's before she was ours. These weren't gossip headlines or TikTok theories, they were quiet recollections from people with no reason to profit from the story. And while vague, they were consistent enough to keep whispers alive. The most haunting part, if the timeline is accurate, is that Meghan Markle's hidden daughter is now nearly 30 years old. Somewhere in Chicago, she lives an ordinary life, going to work, visiting family, walking streets where no one knows she may be tied to one of the world's most famous women. Reports claim she resembles Meghan, sharing the same eyes and bone structure, yet she remains invisible in public record. For Meghan, that invisibility was the point. But the longer the silence holds, the louder the questions grow. By the time Candace Owens' comments went viral, the world began staring more closely at the gap in Meghan's life than ever before. By the time Candace Owens spoke, the internet had already built its own case file. TikTok creators spliced together timelines, showing Meghan's missing year alongside the sealed annulment. Reddit sleuths constructed family trees highlighting every Giuliano connection. YouTubers pulled clips of Meghan's interviews, pausing on moments where she spoke about motherhood. One viral edit froze her smile as she told Oprah, "I just wanted to be a mom," then cut sharply to a headline, "Missing year, missing daughter." The contradiction was brutal, and it stuck. Fans who had once defended Meghan against palace critics began to hesitate. On Twitter, one user wrote, "I can excuse royal racism, but abandoning your own child? That's different." Even supporters admitted the timeline didn't add up. The lack of photos, the sealed annulment, the whispers from Chicago. Together, they painted a story that was harder to dismiss as mere rumor. It wasn't proof, but it was enough to plant doubt.